Hi, it's Chantel here from Fiberific. In this week's Tuesday tutorial, Abbie and I are going to be dyeing some yarn with...
food colouring and pipettes.
Yes! What food colouring colours are we going with, Abbie?
Green and red.
Excellent, very Christmassy, very Christmassy. Okay, so before we started filming, other than, you know, the regular running around that we have to do before we start filming, I actually pre-soaked our yarn. So what I've done is I've dropped a 100-gram skein of sunflower sock yarn, which is 80% wool, 20% nylon, into a sort of half full bucket with a couple of litres of water. You just want the yarn wet. And I also added in about 30 mils of vinegar, because we also need our yarn to have an acid base. So what we're going to do now is we're going to set up for dyeing. We're going to get our pipettes ready, and you'll get to see Abbie dye the yarn. So we just wanted to talk about the yarn that we're using. The sunflower sock yarn from Fiberific, more so just how we prepare it for dyeing. They're just a really thin sort of waste yarn that I use, and I tie them really quite loosely, and I like to have at least 3 of them. See how loose and open that is? It's so the yarn can still move to be dyed, but it doesn't come apart. But then I also like to have one sort of strong cotton tie so that it can take the weight of an entire wet skein. This is ready to go into a bucket of water with a bit of vinegar in it and waiting to be dyed. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to protect our bench top. We do not want food colouring on our bench top. It will stain. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring out a big piece of Glad wrap. We'll do 2 of these. And make sure they overlap about half the distance in the middle, just so you make sure you don't end up with any little leaky hole gaps. Now, what I meant to do is actually pop a towel under this. Ta-da! Towel underneath, just so that we can also make sure that if it does leak through, that we're not worried. I just got the yarn out of the bucket. We want the yarn to have a gentle squeeze. We need the yarn moist but not dripping wet, otherwise the dye will run. We're just spreading it out so that we can get the best coverage of colour before we have to flip. Now, something else that we have to do is we have to water down the food colouring a little. So we've mixed about a 1/4 cup of water just into each of our cups, and then just using our pipettes. Okay, so we're going to try and get about sort of 6 mils of red food colouring into this water. So we just need another 2 mils. Now these food colourings, they go quite a long way really in the scheme of things. So just drop that pipette in there, and we'll do the same with the green. Alright, so again about 6 mils. Do you find the pipettes easy to use?
Yeah. They're a lot easier than using a syringe.
Yeah, we used to use syringes, didn't we?
Yeah.
The pipettes are a lot easier to get your hands on, a lot less expensive. We get a pack of about 6 or 8 for $2 or $2.50.
From just our local craft.
Yeah, just a local $2 shop. And we're just using pillar box red and straight green. Now what Abbie's going to do here, we're both going to do one colour each, is just use the pipette and soak up a bit of the water just to get the extra dye out of the pipette, and give it a little stir. So the thing to remember is colour is personal. So you might want your red deeper, you might want your green darker. It's just trial and error. We're just having a go here. So open this out. Alright, Abs, what do you think? How do you think you're going to dye this?
I'm going to do red and green packets all over the place.
Oh, fantastic. Alright, off you go. Get sprockling.
Woo.
Do you want me to do the red, or do you want to do both?
I'll do the red, you can do the green.
Alright.
Fiberific is green.
Okay, just gentle little drips, and you can really control where you're going.
Drip the drips.
With the pipettes. I mean, it's not perfect, but we're getting some great colour here. Oh, this red, I'm really happy with this mix that we've done here with the 6 mils and the 1/4 cup of water.
I reckon the red looks really good.
I reckon the red looks fantastic.
It's a nice bright coloured red.
It is, and this green is really Christmassy. So we're just going to keep going here, and then we'll actually see. Abbie is aware of my. I don't actually like green and red together. I know it's controversial, especially at Christmas. So Abbie's helping me to very carefully not let the green and red actually mix, because she knows how I feel about the green and the red colours touching each other. They go like a brownie colour and I don't like it. And so what we're doing here is some nice neat splodges. Because
so you don't want to make full-on rose, because if you do green on one side, red on the other, together they might join and make a disgusting brown.
Exactly right. They'll go gross and they won't work. Are you ready to flip over, do you think, to do the other side?
Yes.
Now, the thing with this is it will come through a little, but not too much.
And you can still do something else.
So what we do is we just balance it out. We make sure we get these ends, because the ends are quite thick of yarn. See how they've got quite a bulky amount? We just make sure we get some splodges there. Now this is where you do tend to get some little bits of colour mix. And I can deal with a little bit. It's just when there's heaps. Do you want to swap sides?
Yes. I only use the green, you use the
Oh, okay. Well, there's no green down this end. And we're nearly done.
And I'm getting the very ends, like as she said, very bulky, so I'm going to do a bit of red. See, this is one reason why I'm glad wrap.
Okay, so what happens sometimes is you'll end up with a bit of extra dye, just
Leaking a little
leaking
bit.
a little. I'm just going to pull this up so you can see a bit better. See the dye that's just there? Best thing to do, dab it with some yarn. We don't want too much moisture, otherwise these colours are going to mix. It's just food colouring, honey.
Oh yeah, that's right. I keep thinking that this is actual dye, but it's food.
See, the big advantage of dyeing with children using food colouring, you keep dyeing, is that you don't have to worry too much about the safety aspect. If we were using the chemical dyes that I use for the yarn in my business, we would be wearing gloves, breathing masks, and there would be a drop sheet on this bench and all sorts of stuff going on, rather than just us with little pipettes having a good time. This is looking really good. I'm thinking it's going to look like crushed candy corns.
Candy corns?
Crushed candy canes. What do you think?
Yes, I reckon it will.
I think it needs a bit more down here, maybe a bit more red.
This is cool. I love this.
You having fun?
Yes. Having a blast. I'm getting the edges too. Need to get her right here.
Okay, is that enough?
Yeah. And it doesn't matter if you get colour on your fingers, because it's only food colouring.
Okay, so to set this colour so that it doesn't just wash out, we need to heat set it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put one of these little veggie baskets in the bottom of a saucepan with just probably with about 2 to 3 centimetres of water in it. We're steaming rather than boiling. Now what we need to do is glad wrap this. Now what I want to do is have this covered on this half so that the colours don't mix together, and then roll it like a sausage.
Gee, it really does look like a crushed candy cane already.
It does look a bit like a crushed candy cane, doesn't it? Then just fold your end in and we'll just roll it up like one of those pinwheel lollies so that it's ready to go in the bag. Now,
In the bag?
I personally like to put all of the dyes into another bag. I find the glad wrap sometimes can stick to the basket, whereas if you put it in one of these heavier duty plastic bags, like the Aldi bags, the thicker bags, like the JB Hi-Fi bags, that thicker plastic.
But not like the paper bags, like the cardboard ones.
No, it has to be plastic, and not like shopping bags. So we just wrap that up.
Because the shopping bags are too flimsy.
The shopping bags are too thin. Okay, so we're going to pop this in here. Pop its lid on. And we're going to put this on the stove and let it steam for about 30 minutes and then let it cool down for maybe another 30 minutes in the pot. So we'll come back to you then. Okay, so the pot has been on this, oh, that's a bit warm. The pot's been on the stove now for 30 minutes steaming and then another 30 minutes with no heat under it, just in its own heat. So this is ready now to go into the sink to be rinsed off. So what did you think of that, Abbie? Was that fun?
Yes. I would totally do it again.
You'd totally do it again. So this is what we've ended up with this skein of what, crushed candy canes?
Yeah,
crushed candy canes. Now we actually have made 2 of these. They are slightly different. They were made at different times. But if you are interested and you would like crushed candy canes, one of these 2 food colouring dyed skeins, they'll be available over at fiberific.com.au. And as usual, anything that Abbie helps dye with, she gets a cut of. So they'll be.
I get $4.
She'll get $4. So she's very happy with her cut. So these will be available for shipping as of tomorrow, and we'll only do the 2, so it's first in, first serve. We're not going to do any others. So I had so much fun with that. I would definitely use pipettes again. Would you use pipettes again?
Yes, because with syringes, it's so hard. You have to use 2 hands. This, you can just go. Do it. That's what you have to do.
Okay, yeah, no, I found them to be a lot easier to use. You can't suck up as much as you can with a syringe, but at the end of the day, if you're able just to move quicker and work faster and swap between colours easier, that makes a huge difference. So I would probably consider using pipettes for more of my, well, I would say commercial dyeing. It's not commercial. More of my chemical dyeing that I do. But we need to go and get this yarn on the line. So
let's do that quickly.
Yeah, so we need to go and hang that one out, and the other one will be ready to hang out shortly.
It's in the pot.
So
click like if you liked it. Please subscribe if you haven't, and leave a comment down below if you'd like to try this with any of your kids or any friends like that.
It's time for you to fill your universe with fibre fun. Off you go. I'll see you Thursday.
See ya!
Bye! Come on, let's go hang this on the line.